Brook and I'm hungry, ragged and dirty too. Brook, I'm hungry, ragged and dirty too. Clean up, sweet mama, and spend all night with you. Look out my window, couldn't see through my blinds. Look out my window, couldn't see through my blinds. Thought I heard my best friend coming, thought I heard my baby crying. See you, honey, sit beside your door. Can't come and see you, honey, sit beside your door. Won't stay too long, mama, you might never know. Shouldn't mistreat me, honey, I'm young and wild. Shouldn't mistreat me, honey, 'cause I'm young and wild. Remember, mama, you were once a child. Går ju hårt double bass. Leaving in the morning, gonna rise the blind. Leaving in the morning, gonna rise the blind. Won't stay too long, mama, you'll never know. Broke and I'm hungry, ragged and dirty too. Broke, I'm hungry, ragged and dirty too. I'll clean up sweet mama and spend all night with you. Clean up sweet mama and spend all night with you. I'll clean up sweet mama and I'll spend all night with you. Thank you very much. Welcome to a history of Mississippi blues, and thanks for joining us. This is that was a song called "Ragged and Dirty" by a guy called Willie Brown. So Willie Brown was sort of famous for being friends with Robert Johnson, like that, which you'll hear about later. And there's a couple of Willie Browns around the place as well. So a lot of people used to borrow blues names, and which wasn't really a problem when they're in different states. It's just that it made it a bit difficult for the festival organisers when there's three of them turned up at the same time. So it's like who's the real Willie Brown? And but also it was also a tune called "Broken Hungry" by Blind Lemon Jefferson as well. So and part of the intrigue of blues was the kind of the names always used to sort of interest me, like Blind Blake, Blind Lemon Jefferson, Blind Willie Johnson, and I always wondered why they were blind, because I was sort of wearing glasses myself. I was sort of halfway there, so I wasn't quite sure. But it's because they couldn't actually work on the in the field, so they had to become musicians. That was the only sort of trade left to them, basically. So it's essentially the only thing they can do, and it's essentially the only thing I can do. So it's sort of I kind of related. But also the blues names are always such a classic. You had like Furry Lewis, obviously some kind of hair growth problem. Sleepy Estes, narcolepsy. Hambone Willie, I think you had a bit of Hambone Willie, didn't you? Tell the doctor about that, I think. Yes, common complaint, but yeah, some great names associated with the blues as well. And we're going to play a little song by Charlie Patton. Anyone who Charlie Patton is? Really, no one knows who Charlie Patton is. Oh wow, you got so much to discover. Awesome. So there's a thing called Google. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's a really amazing little thing.
It's on the internet.
Yeah. And so any of these names you might want to just, don't do it now, obviously, in the middle of the show, but when you get home, Charlie Patton, he's basically kind of the grandfather of blues, Mississippi blues. And he worked on a place called Dockery's Plantation, which is where he worked, Willie Brown worked, Son House, Robert Johnson, people like that. So it was a real sort of hotbed of blues, basically. So Charlie Patton, he's one of the people who started it off as well. So this is a song called 34 Blues. It's about just the kind of the Great Depression, which kind of killed the career of a lot of these early Mississippi blues artists. And this is his tune. So it goes like this. Tell nobody what the 34 has done for me. Tell nobody what the 34 has done for me. Took cream and roll and now I'm broke as can be. Run me from Dockery's, Willie Brown, I want your job. Run me from Dockery's, Willie Brown, I want your job. Poor Papa Charlie ain't come round here no more. country always makes me cry. Down in the country always makes me cry. Women and children, flag and freight trains to ride. Carmen's got a Buick, sweet Chevrolet car. Carmen's got a Buick, sweet Chevrolet car. Don't do nothing but follow behind the farmer's plow. Tell nobody what 34 has done for me. Tell nobody what 34 has done for me. Took Queen rule and now I'm broke as me. The run man from Dr. Reed's Willie Brown wants your job. The run man from Dr. Reed's Willie Brown wants your job. Took Queen rule and now I'm broke as me. Comes got a Buick, sweet Chevrolet car. Comes got a Buick, sweet Chevrolet car. Don't do nothing but follow behind the farmer's plow. Don't do nothing but follow behind the farmer's plow. Don't do nothing but follow behind the farmer's plow. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to play a little tune called Pallet on the Floor. It's an old Mississippi John Hurt tune. And he was one of my favourite blues artists. Kev, can I just get a bit more of guitar and voice? This is more kind of finger-picked blues. They call it Piedmont blues style, and basically the idea is that it's a finger-picked Appalachian blues style, so it kind of comes from Irish and Celtic sort of tradition as well. So, and it also has a little turnaround. This, which is kind of like a bit of a jazz blues in there as well. So it's a little song called Pallet on the Floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet on your floor. Going up the country 20 miles more. Going up the country 20 miles more. I'm going out the country 20 miles more. No telling where I might go. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet on your floor. Only because my good girl can't you hear. Please don't let my good girl catch you here. She'll bite you and scratch you, cut and hurt you too. No telling what she might do. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet on your floor. And honey, I can lay down on your bed. Honey, I can lay down on your bed. Honey, I can lay down on your feather bed. 'Cause my good girl, she might kill me dead. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet on your floor. Honey, I can lay down on your bed. Honey, I can lay down on your bed. Honey, I can lay down on your feather bed. 'Cause my good girl, she might kill me dead. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me down a pallet on your floor. Make me a pallet on your floor. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to play you a little tune. This is a little song called Write Me a Few Lines. This is a song by Mississippi Fred McDowell. And this thing on the end of my finger, if you may have seen before. You've seen a slide before, I imagine? Yes? Yeah, good. I said most of our audiences are usually bearded men who ask about tunings and string gauges, so most of the people know about this glass thing on my finger. But it's So the idea of a slide, basically, it sort of first, they first discovered it, well, in blues anyway, a guy called W.C. Handy, who they call him the grandfather of the blues. And he basically found, he heard someone playing this slide on a train station in Tutwiler, Mississippi. And he just heard this really unique sound, basically. And so the guy was actually playing with a knife, on the other side of a knife. You can play with glass, knives, bullets, lipstick cases, all sorts of stuff, like bones. And so he was actually playing with a knife. And so I don't think he actually went up to him and actually asked him about it, because he'd probably been stabbed. But he loved the sound of it. And so, but it's also been in Hawaiian music. It's been in Indian music. So there's a African music. So there's a rich heritage of this kind of idea of this slide thing. And what you're basically doing when you're playing a slide is they're basically the arc of the slide. You're putting it on the fret marker. So normally when you play guitar, you push in the fret, so you got about that much room to put your finger in. But with a slide, you've basically got that much room, because it's the width of the fret marker. So you basically got to get the arc over the top of the fret marker. So when I first I heard slide as a film called Paris, Texas, and Ry Cooder does the soundtrack for it. And yeah, great film. And so you can put that in your Google machine as well and smoke it. But basically, have a listen to that. Well, that film when you get home as well. It's pretty amazing. And so there's a bit where Harry Dean Stanton walks across the desert, and there's this sort of sound like that. And I thought, what the hell is that? And just from then on, it was just like a little love story. So actually, when I first bought one, they used to have these little instruction manuals about this small, and you used to like scroll it out, and it told you nothing about slide. So I did what everyone else did and got one and went like that. And went, yeah, that's cool, and then put it on the shelf for a few years and let it collect dust. But if you actually play it properly, it sounds quite nice. And so I had a slide teacher in the UK, a guy who played in a band called the Notting Hill Billies, which is Mark Knopfler's band, and he sort of taught me a bit of slide, and he was very adamant getting the intonation, which means putting the slide over the top of the fret marker. So we call it playing on the knife edge, because slide guitar players want to sound cooler than what they actually are, essentially music nerds, and basically to get that sound. And so if I ever didn't get that sound, he would actually hit me across the knuckles with a steel ruler. And the scars are sort of slowly healed, but the emotional scars are still there. But no, it's actually quite lovely. But anyway, it goes like this. So that's how you get that sound. And so it's unlike any other sound you kind of hear in an instrument. So we're going to play a little song called Write Me a Few Lines. get home, mama, please wrap your lights. When you get home, mama, please wrap your lights. Be consolation, mama, ooh, to your worrying mind. When I left you, mama, ooh, run back door crying. When I left you, mama, ooh, run back door crying. Didn't know I loved you, mama, ooh, till I said goodnight. to the river. Ooh, I lay my body down. Went down to the river. Ooh, I lay my body down. Let the waves of water, mama, ooh, rush my body down. When you get home, mama, ooh, your life. When you get home, mama, ooh, rock you your life. Be consolation, mama, ooh, to worry and mind. Be consolation, mama, ooh, to worry and mind. Consolation, mama, ooh, to your worry and mind. Thank you. All right. Okay, we're going to play you a song. We're going to do one more tune. We'll have a little short break so you can go grab a drink. So this is a song by J.B. Lenore. This is a Mississippi blues player and sort of like kind of third generation blues. There was sort of first generation was people like Son House, Robert Johnson, Blind Willie Johnson, people like that, and second generation was things like Muddy Waters and B.B. King, and then you know, the third generation, which is J.B. Lenore. So he basically he kind of died in a car accident, and part of the reason why he died was he just didn't really get the same degree of care as the kind of the white Americans got. So in the 60s, and one of the greatest sort of champions of J.B. Lenore was a guy called John Mayall, who we played in British blues, and he had a song called Fight For You, J.B. And if you ever get a chance to as well in that Google machine as well, have a look at the it's like basically a folk blues festival in Germany. They took a lot of the Mississippi blues players over to Germany and recorded them basically. It's an amazing lineup of just the authentic blues players back in the day, and it was sort of if you get to see any of these TV shows are amazing, and J.B. Lenore was lucky enough to go over there and play over there as well. And it was a nice place. Europe was good for the Mississippi blues players because they sort of didn't get as much racism as they got in America, which was kind of nice, and so a lot of them stayed there. So this little song is we're going to finish the little set with this one. It's kind of moody songs. The reason why we don't get to play weddings very often. This is a little song called "Down in Mississippi." It's about as relevant now as it is, or then as it is now. So we're going to dedicate the song to Black Lives Matter, and this is a little song called "Down in Mississippi." So. Far back as I can remember, always had a plow and a hoe. One of those 9-foot cotton sacks waiting at the old corn road. Going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi where I come from, the place where I was born. Nothing against Mississippi, was the home of my wife, but I count myself a lucky man to get out with my life. Going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi. where I come from, place where I was born. Nothing against Mississippi, was the home of my wife, but I count myself a lucky man to get out with my life. Going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, where I come from, place where I was born. Hunting season on a rabbit, shoot one, you go to jail. But it's always open season on me, nobody needs no bail. Going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, where I come from, place where I was born. Nothing against Mississippi, was the home of my wife, but I count myself a lucky man just to get out with my life. Going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, where I come from, place where I was born. Going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, where I come from, place where I was born. Going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, where I come from, place where I was born. Going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, where I come from, place where I was born. Going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, going down Mississippi, where I come from, place where I was born. Thank you. We're going to have a short break, so grab a drink. I'll be back very, very soon. Thank you. Cheers.